Do you want to live in a country where the government is telling you what kind of car you have to buy? I don't, and I'm pretty sure that most of you watching this video don't want to either. There's a reason we live in a democratic country like Canada, and it's so that we consumers can make fundamental choices like deciding where to live, what kind of car to buy, and what kind of groceries to buy at the store. We don't want the government telling us what to do or what is best for us. We consumers need to be in the driver's seat. But that's something the Liberal government simply fundamentally doesn't understand. Under Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the federal government introduced a policy called the Electric Vehicle Mandate, which said that by January 1st, 2026, 20% of all new cars sold in Canada were going to have to be electric. And if dealerships were not meeting those quotas, they were going to be punished essentially with a tax or to have to buy credits from companies that overperform in selling electric vehicles like Tesla. Now, Mark Carney finally realized what damage this was going to do to the Canadian economy. It could lead to a loss of jobs and investment, and it could lead to the decimation of the auto sector here in Canada. So he finally hit the snooze button on this terrible Justin Trudeau era policy. He took the 2026 requirement off, and he says he's going to review the entire electric vehicle mandate over a 60-day period. Now, the electric vehicle mandate was supposed to kick in 2026, but that's not when it was going to reach its height. According to the old standards, by 2030, 60% of all new cars sold in Canada were going to have to be electric, and that number would go to 100% by 2035. That means if you wanted to go out and buy a brand new car in 2035, you would have to buy an electric vehicle. That is not a consumer-driven transition. That is a government-mandated transition, and that is not something we should be looking at in a democratic country like Canada. Now, Prime Minister Mark Carney cannot use the 60-day review period to water down this policy a little bit or delay the years by a little bit or try to bribe Canadians with thousands of dollars of taxpayer-funded subsidies to get more people to run out and buy electric vehicles to try to increase the 8% of Canadians who are buying them now to something higher so that we could potentially get closer to the numbers the government is trying to achieve. This is bad policy and it needs to be repealed lock, stock, and barrel. It is bad policy because it is not allowing consumers to be in the driver's seat. We consumers should be making choices. And if we want to see an electric vehicle transition, if consumers want to see that happen, consumers should be voting with their wallets. We should be deciding by buying the cars that we want to buy. If there's going to be a transition in Canada, it should be a consumer-driven transition and not a government-mandated transition. And look, right now, only 8% of Canadians want to buy electric vehicles. It's pretty clear that that transition simply isn't happening. Or if it is, it's happening pretty darn slowly and not at the pace the government wants to see. So this policy, this electric vehicle mandate, it cannot stand. It is bad policy. It was bad policy from day one, and there is no way that Mark Carney can use these 60 days to improve it or tinker with it around the edges because it is fundamentally a wrong policy for Canadians. He needs to recognize that, and he needs to fully repeal the electric vehicle mandate after the 60-day review and recognize that any changes in our consumer behavior should be driven by we, the consumers, and not by they, the government.